Welcome to an Open Spaces Sports special, a road to a championship, as we sit down and talk about the Colby Community College Trojan basketball team 2019 and 20 season. I'm Rich Epp, your host here today, as we visit with Rusty Elmore, the head basketball coach of the Colby Community College, the 16th head coach in Colby College Trojan history. This season and this road started back in November. Well, really, for all practical purposes, probably when Coach Elmore got to Colby Community College in mid-summer, and then in August when the players came to campus and started to prepare for the opening of the 2019 basketball season into 2020. Little did we know that here in March of 2020, the Colby College Trojans would be the Jayhawk West champions, running through the Jayhawk West, 14 games undefeated, 26-4 overall record, 18-3 in the Jayhawk Conference. Who would have thought it? It was the first-year head basketball coach, Rusty Elmore, that has brought this championship to Colby Community College and here to Northwest Kansas. So let's find out a little bit more about Rusty Elmore, the new head coach of the Colby College Trojans, and we'll do that and talk about this team after this message.
Working right by your side, helping our local communities and families. We're People State Bank. We support farmers harvesting in nearby fields. We are coaches of youth sports programs, and we are organizing church fundraisers. We volunteer in our schools. We shop local, and we're an advocate for a strong rural lifestyle. We want to grow our partnership with you and work together to achieve your goals. Stop in and see us today. People State Bank, proud to serve your hometown.
Jumpstart your education today with Colby Connect. With Colby Community College online classes, you set the schedule, you set the place, with credits that transfer to local colleges and universities at a fraction of the cost. College couldn't be any easier to fit into your life. We even have 24/7 tutoring available. Take affordable and transferable courses from an accredited nonprofit community college with one of the highest graduation rates in the nation. Connect here, go anywhere. Register for online classes today.
Welcome back to our special, and joining me is Rusty Elmore, the head basketball coach of the Colby Community College Trojans, who, as I said, have just won the Jayhawk West championship by finishing the season unbeaten in the Jayhawk West, 14-0. And Coach, welcome to this special. I want to get people to know you a little bit better, and I'd like to get to know you just a little bit better, so welcome.
Thanks, Rich. Thanks for doing this.
You know, I first met you back, I think it was in July, when you were hired as the head basketball coach, and they had the press conference on campus, and I guess, and here we sit heading into March, getting ready for March Madness, and you're the champions of the Jayhawk West. This team has won 11 games in a row, finishing out the regular season on Saturday against Pratt. A team that's 26-4. I guess the first question I have is, Coach, how did you find Colby, and what even prompted you to apply for this job?
You know, it's funny, Rich. I've applied for a lot of jobs in my almost decade of doing this, and I got an email. I was actually down in Alabama visiting my family. They live right outside of Auburn, and we were actually at Auburn University watching my nephew play. They were in team camp there, and I looked down on my phone and I got an email from Colby, and I had to ask my dad. I was like, I don't even remember applying, but they want me to come on a Monday, and this was a Friday. So I had to call and like, look, I'm 22 hours away. Any way I can do it on Tuesday? And luckily Mike and Kayla, they arranged for me to come up Tuesday. So literally Sunday, we hopped in the car, drove 17 hours to Moberly, met my wife's parents at my house and dropped the kids off, and me and my wife drove the rest of the 8 hours from Moberly to Colby. So we drove practically about 25 hours and 48 hours to get to Colby, and that's kind of how I interviewed that day, and they were giving me the tour afterwards, and Mike came and got me after the interview and brought me. Well, I think we went to Starbucks, and he offered me the job there, and kind of how I got started, and I wasn't expecting that. You know, it's kind of funny. I knew about Colby. I had recruited Colby before. Actually, Coach Groffel, Egan, who's on my staff now, we met probably 7, 8 years ago in Milwaukee at a recruiting event, and kind of stayed in touch through the years. And so I kind of kept up with Colby through him. And but you know, I never envisioned my first year coaching I'd be in the best league in the country. So that's kind of how it all went down.
Did you Google it? I mean,
I had no idea.
Did you really know where Colby was
I had
at?
no idea it was this far west. I mean, I thought it would be a 4 or 5 hour drive from Moberly, because, you know, Missouri, Kansas, you know, I didn't realize how big Kansas is till you start driving across it. But you know, other than Coach Groffel being in the Jayhawk, that's about all I knew about Colby before I got here.
You know, your parents, your dad was a coach. You
Yep.
played for your dad,
Yep.
as a matter of fact. Glenn Elmore, and your mom, Connie, she tells me, by the way, you know, everybody calls you Rusty, but she doesn't. It's Russ. How's that happen?
You know, when I was little, it was Rusty. And I went through this phase, probably, I don't know, for kindergarten, first, second grade. I went to Russ. And then for some reason, I don't even know why, it went back to Rusty. Everybody's been Rusty ever since, but my mom's always been Russ. So, you know.
Now, she tells me that when you were in high school, and I don't know what the fad was, but you got some special shoes that was going to help you jump because you wanted to dunk the basketball.
I'm going to be honest, Rich, they worked. They, I don't know if the strength shoe, they had the little platform on the front of them. I mean, I'm going to be honest, I went from a white boy that was about 6'4" in 8th grade, could barely touch the backboard. You know, I stayed faithful to those things. You know, by about 10th grade, I could bring it home. I mean, I'm not bragging.
Yeah, well, she said you were going all over and wearing those things that almost,
yeah,
didn't even take them off.
I'm a big proponent of them. I think they worked. I don't even know if they're still around, but they worked.
Used to make. Well, I don't think they were around when I was playing, I guess. Those were back the old Converse shoes, maybe. Where did you learn and where did you begin to have the passion for basketball, not just to play it, but when did you decide maybe you wanted to be a coach?
I mean, my youngest memories, especially being the son of a coach, I've always just loved sports. I can remember kindergarten, preschool, my teachers get mad. We do art projects or draw. I was either drawing a football field, a basketball court, or whatever my favorite team logo was of that day. I mean, I was obsessed. My mom, she'd make us read library books over the summer, and my whole stack was sports books. I mean, that's the only thing I'd read, and it just kind of took off from there. You know, being a coach's son, I grew up in the locker room, football. My dad coached everything, really. And so, you know, it was just from one sport to the next. And I'm going to be honest, probably football and baseball were my favorite sports growing up, especially growing up in Alabama, Auburn, Alabama. You know, my whole family's Auburn, and we were obsessed with it. And, you know, I probably dreamed more of being an Auburn Tiger than anything growing up. But kind of what changed, I think the summer going into 8th grade, I went to Don Meyer basketball camp, which is a coaching legend. Probably, I think he's the winningest coach in college history. And I went with some buddies, and they were a couple years older than me, but I pretended I was their age and went with their age group the whole week. Pretty much got my tail kicked the whole week, got embarrassed a little bit, but one thing that changed was my coach, Coach Bertoli. I'll never forget him. I actually think he's from Colorado. I've actually tried to find him and I haven't had a lot of luck, but he told me that when I left, he said, "You're the most improved kid I've had at this camp since I've been doing it." And I'm gonna be honest, it kind of inspired me. Like, if I keep working, I can keep getting better, and it kind of took off from there. And I'm gonna be honest, I played football one more year, and that was it. It was all basketball from then on.
You know, you were not in the coaching realm, however, when you got out of college.
Sure.
You were kind of doing what I do. I mean, you were in the media, so to speak. Did that for a few years, and then you did end up getting into coaching, and you've been an assistant coach prior to coming to Colby. This is your first head coaching job. But every team and every coach you've worked for has had winning success. How much of an impact have those programs and those coaches had on what you are doing now and what you have done?
I mean, I steal from all of them. I mean, a little bit everything we do is a combination of what I learned from those guys. I mean, if you combine the wins, every one of those coaches I work for have won a national championship. Every one of those coaches I work for have been National Coach of the Year. I mean, it's kind of hard to work for guys like that and not seep in what, everything they know and try to learn from those guys. And, what's great is we have a big win. I get a text from all of them, hey, a huge win, keep going. And, they're all super proud of me, but, I'm also not where I'm at if it wasn't for all those guys.
Well, let's take a break, and we're going to come back and talk about this team and how this team has evolved throughout the season and where we're at. And some of these players will do it right after this.
America never stops. Thanks to the financial support of Farm Credit, neither do the farmers and ranchers who call her home. Since the beginning, we've been helping rural America show the world what hard work can achieve. But the job is far from over. And as rural America grows further, we'll be there, just as we have for 100 years.
Colby Ag Center is your place to go for all your farming needs. When it comes to farm equipment, Case IH is a name you can trust and rely on. And Colby Ag Center has a wide variety of new and used equipment to help make your farming operation a profitable one. So whether you need a new combine, tractor, sprayer, corn head, drills, or any other farm equipment, Colby Ag Center can take care of all your farming needs. Bring the future of farming into today by contacting the professional and friendly staff of Colby Ag Center.
Welcome back as we continue our conversation with Coach Elmore, the men's head basketball coach at Colby Community College. And we just talked about his coaches that he's worked for and the programs that he's been a part of. Now you come to Colby and you're now the man in charge. This is your program. You're now the head coach. Talk to me a little bit about your philosophy. How have you developed your philosophy? And the style of play, which I assume can change depending on the opponent and the game, but not the philosophy. I would think you'd have a philosophy. Where do you get it? And what is it?
I mean, really, it was just kind of this first year, kind of figure out what kind of team I've got and kind of hopefully play to our strengths. And, defense is at the forefront of everything we do. I just think you can't be really good without a good defense. And, our kids have bought into that. They take pride in it. And to me, that's a big part of why we've been successful. I want to get out and play fast. There's some games that we can do that better than others. The big thing for us is that we want to try to get a quick shot, get an open quick. And if not, we want to get a couple reversals and try to break the defense down late in the clock. For the most part, we've done that pretty well this year. We probably, need to keep getting better at it, especially through March. But credit our guys; they have completely bought into. I talk about the '80s Pistons team and how physical and how they took pride, and that's kind of how we try to be too. And to hold a team like Pratt to 42 points on Saturday, some fruits of our labor.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt about that. When you came here, let's go back to when you got the job. You've told me this multiple times. You made a phone call, and I think you probably spoke with Rusty Groffel a little bit, obviously, but 3 guys that you brought back from the team last year, Eddie Davis, Javion May, and Josh Edwards, but you made a call to Eddie Davis first. Why?
I mean, he's a freshman of the year in the league, and I'd actually watched some tape coming up, getting ready for my interview, and I just kept watching. I'm like, wow, this kid is really good. And to be honest, Mike shook my hand. I told him I had to go home and get some clothes and coming back. We got in the car. My first call was to Eddie. And actually he didn't answer. Javion, I called next and said he was coming, and then Eddie called me back probably 10-15 minutes later and said he was coming back. I worried, I'm gonna be honest, till he arrived on campus that he was still coming, but thank God he did. And Josh was the same thing. Took me a couple of days, his phone and the international deal, but we finally got up and he let me know he was coming back. And what a base to create a team from with those 3 guys. And I'll be forever indebted to those kids for giving me a chance. And I love them all 3, and they're all 3 special kids, and they're all 3 going to be really successul in life. I just feel it.
When you come here and you get those guys to say they're going to be coming back, you've got to go get players and to put a team together. and you've done that. And I spoke with those players after the Pratt game on Saturday, several of them, and one of the things they all said individually was that the reason for the success is because of the chemistry of the team. Now, how is it that you can create this chemistry as a coach, along with your coaching staff, Egan and Trey, because they're from different backgrounds, they're from different communities, they have different personalities, and how is it that we have the chemistry?
I mean, it's a credit to those guys of how special character they have. I mean, they just really from day one have kind of meshed, and like I said, I never really have to worry about these kids off the floor. I have to push a couple of them academically, but I think over half our team had a 3.5 GPA. I mean, Rich, this is a lot to do with luck. I try to recruit good kids, and you hope you can, but I'm going to be honest, my decade of doing this is the most special group of kids I've ever been around. Just how good of kids they really are. I love being around them. They're fun to be around. They take coaching. They work hard. They do what they're supposed to do. I mean, and you add all that up, and that's why we're successful.
When I talk about the philosophy, and we're going to get down to these players, and I want you to comment on each of them, but I want to go back to that philosophy thing a little bit. But you're almost a different person. Well, you are a different person on the court than you are off the court. How do you flip that switch?
It's when I'm on the step between these lines, it's all business, and I haven't found a really, being nice really never really works for me. Getting these kids, when I say being, I've got to push them, and they respond to me, or they have, and I don't yell and scream all the time, but sometimes to me that's what I have to do to get them to do right. And credit to my guys, they accept it. They pick it up, or they take the discipline, and I think they want it. And that's what makes them special too, is they want to be held accountable. And and once it's done, we move on, and it's kind of like your family. I get mad at my daughters for acting up, but I still love them, and kind of have to move on.
I was going to say, at the end of the day, they know you love them.
Sure.
I would think would be a factor. Let's go through these players. Okay. I want you to just give me a brief comment about each of them and what stands out in your mind. Alex Fancini.
We were super, I've got a lot of words to say about Alex. I mean, 4.0 student, really good offensive player. He's bought in. We tried him. He was our point guard at the start of the year, and he was pretty good at it. But DeMarcus was just better, and I wanted to get Alex more shots because he's our best shooter, so I switched positions. And to be honest, that's the smartest thing I've done all year. We kind of took off from there, and but Alex is an unbelievable teammate. How many times has he dove on this floor for a loose ball and took a charge when we needed it? I mean, he's a special player. I don't understand why Division I coaches are not in here looking at. I mean, he's everything you're looking for, and I hope we can make it to Hutch, because I think he'll get something if we do. But a special kid, really is.
DeMarcus Sharp.
Yeah.
You brought him with you.
Yep. He was my next call after Jay. He's a special kid too. We've been together for 2 years now. I knew he was really good. He kind of got hid behind two guys last year. They're the leading scorer in the country, and they're both playing in the Pac-12 now. And people forgot about him behind those two guys. But if you asked our staff last year, he's probably one of our most important players. And we don't get to Hutch without him. And and I'm gonna be too rich. I knew he was gonna be good. I had no idea he was going to be this great. I mean, if he doesn't get player of the year, he's going to be really close. And he's led this team. He's done everything we've needed him to do for us to be successful, and he's completely bought in. He's like an extension of me on the floor. And, like I said, we're not here having this without him.
Eddie Davis.
Really good. Talented kid, and sometimes I have to tell him, I don't think he gets how good he can be. He's still got to learn to play hard all the time, and when he does that now, he's going to be really, really special, because he still floats on me, but for the most part, he's bought in completely. He's probably going to be all first team Jayhawk, and he's going to have a big future once he leaves Colby.
Javion May.
He's my wife's favorite player, actually. She loves Javion, and so do I. He's probably the toughest kid I've ever coached. I mean, he gets thrown into that wall, he dives on the floor, he takes charges. His whole body's just one big bruise pretty much from how hard he plays. And like I said, I'm going to miss that kid. Like I said, he is a special kid. He's going to be really successful when he's out of school. I mean, 4.0 student, does everything I ask, leads our locker room, and, I'd like for him to be assistant coach one day, but he's probably going to be too smart for that. But, he's a special kid. His dad, I love to death as well. He comes from his family's, I think the world up. And, he's a special kid. And like I said, I got a little teary-eyed when he walked out on Saturday because I know my time's running out with him.
Matt McFarland.
Probably the most talented kid in the Jayhawk. To be able to do what he can at 6'10" is incredible. Us recruiting him is a great story, Rich. We were recruiting another kid, and the guy that kind of handled that area of the country in Philadelphia, or actually it was in Baltimore actually, but he's like, Coach, I got this kid. I promise you, if you take him, you're going to be indebted to me for the rest of your life. And we kind of got, time was running out, so he was 6'10". Some other people said, Coach, he's pretty good. He showed up here the first day, and I looked over at Trey. I was like, there is a God, because he is really good. He's talented. He has no idea how good he can be, and he keeps getting better. I mean, he's probably the most improved player on our team. He's going to be special. I mean, some high major schools are already calling and inquiring about him. Like I said, the future's bright for him.
Here's a guy that people seem to like to watch. Dominic Harvey.
Yeah, he is. He's a human highlight, and he's another kid that's really improved from. He hasn't played a lot of years of organized ball, and he was a guy. He broke his wrist early in the year, and we were thinking about redshirting him just because we didn't know when he was going to be able to come back. Thank goodness we didn't, because you take him off this team, I mean, he just does everything we need him. He gets a double-double every night. He puts people in the seats because they all like watching what he's going to do next. And great kid, killing it academically, and the future's really bright for him too.
Josh Edwards.
Probably the smartest kid I've ever coached, I'd say. 4.0, I've got Ivy League schools calling, inquiring about him. He probably doesn't get the minutes that I'll say this, he comes to work every day. He does everything we ask. And I mean, like I said, he's a special kid, and, he's going to be one of those kids that's going to be super successful after his career's over.
Damian Miller.
Damian's, we found out a couple weeks ago, he's playing with a torn radial meniscus. It's one of the few ligaments that you can play on. He's just not been healthy the whole year. But credit to him, he's had some really big games. We don't beat Garden City without him here. He had 15 that night. He's hit some big threes in the night, so we were struggling to score. He's going to be a really good player once his knee heals. But it's just a shame he got hurt. And credit to him, he's still battling every day and trying to fight through it.
And these guys are important to your team.
Oh, for sure.
Chauncey Hughes.
I mean, we don't beat Cowley without him. He comes in and goes 12 for 12 from the free throw line that day, and probably one of the best defenders on our team. If he keeps getting better offensively, he's going to have some opportunities once his days are over at Colby. Great kid. Another kid probably wishes he was getting more minutes, but he never complains. He just does his job. He's great on the bench, and like I said, he's an important part of our team.
And the Kansas kid, Jaden Taylor.
Jaden, we were down numbers beginning of the year. Guys hurt, guys decided they didn't want to be a part of the program, and Josh Edwards' roommate. He's like, Coach, he's not bad. He'd probably be a pretty good walk-on. So he came in that day, he hit a couple shots. I told him after practice, I was like, you're on the team, and he comes to work every day. He's a great practice player, great kid, and we're fortunate to have him as a walk-on.
Your team went 14-0 in the Jayhawk West. Done a little research. Only one other team, to my knowledge, since Colby entered the Jayhawk in 1997, has ever done that. And that was Hutchinson several years ago. Has that sunk into what accomplishment that is?
I don't know if it'll really sink in until after all this is over. You don't really get time to enjoy it, especially in the Jayhawk career, as a game after game after game. But you know, I have taken a little time the last couple of days, and you know, this is incredible, Rich. I never envisioned, dreamed this. Credit these kids, you know, that we've gotten to this point, and the big thing is that we just got to keep going and maybe keep this thing going for a little bit longer.
Let's take a break and come back and wrap up our interview and conversation with Coach Rusty Elmore. We'll do it after this quick timeout.
The oasis on the plains, Colby, Kansas, is the oasis on the plains. A friendly smile, Colby has it. If you leave, you're sure to miss it. Work, shop, play or visit, share our past, we'll show you our dreams. The oasis on the plains, Colby, Kansas.
The Start Something New sales event is in full swing at Colby Dodge. We have many special programs in effect this month. Stop by today and visit with a salesperson and see how much you can save. With discounts up to $10,000 off MSRP on new 2019 models, why not start off the new year with a new vehicle? Visit us in person, exit 53 I-70, Colby, Kansas, or browse online 24/7 at colbydodge.com.
Welcome back to our special Road to a Championship. The Colby Community College Trojan men's basketball team, 26-4 on the year, and the Jayhawk West champions. We've been visiting with Coach Rusty Elmore about his basketball team and the success that they've had. And I think a lot of that success, Coach, you would say, I've gotten to know you just a little bit. Obviously, your family is important to you. Talk about the family's importance. And then I know faith is important to you as well. Sure. How about those two?
You know, I'll start with my faith. I mean, you know, 10 years ago, I gave my life to Christ, and, you know, it's changed me. You know, I still have ways to go. He's still working on me. I've got to work on. There's areas of my life I definitely need to improve, but through his strength, hopefully I continue to grow as a Christian. And the biggest thing is I just try to be a light to my guys, and part of that is showing that I love my family, and our family's a part of our program. I mean, my daughters are already packed to go to Dodge City this weekend. They're fired up, and they call the guys their brothers, and you know, it's like I said, I'm not where I'm at without my wife. You know, she took a chance on me when I was making not a whole lot of money, and said yes to marry me. We've moved all over the country, and she's done it without complaining. She believes in me. She's one of my biggest fans, and she's also one of my biggest critics. When I need to be brought down to reality, you know, she can do that as well. And she does, you know, a great job of this profession, especially this time of year. We're not home a lot, and she has a lot on her plate, but she does a great job with my daughters and keeping our house in line. Like I said, I couldn't do this without her.
Well, Coach, congratulations on just an incredible year. A first at Colby Community College, I might add, the winningest first-year coach in the history of our institution, a Jayhawk West championship, rolling through the Jayhawk West undefeated, and yet the journey's not over. Thank you for sitting down with me and getting to know you just a little bit better.
Rich, I want to say thank you for everything you do for this program. I mean, you're our biggest fan, and like I said, a lot of people that wouldn't know what's going on with Colby Community College if it wasn't for you, and we're truly thank you for all you do.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck to you, and we'll see you at Hutchinson.
Can't wait.
All right. Rusty Elmore visiting with us on OpenSpacesSports.com. It's live video streaming every game. That's what we do. Thank you for joining us.